Hi, my name's Eric. I'll be reading you selections from today's Cape Cod Times, dated 12/29 of 2025. Yes, December 29th. Hope you all had wonderful holidays leading up to this week of New Year's. And the weather, boy, it's changed quite a bit. Today, a high of 50 after quite a cold period last week. Breezy with periods of rain off and on this afternoon. Mostly cloudy and windy tonight, dropping down to 29 degrees in the overnight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, across the Cape and Islands, windy and colder with periods of sun. High of 34, low of 27. On Wednesday, times of clouds and sun as well. High of 35, low of 27. Thursday, much the same, cloudy and cold, maybe a couple of snow flurries, high of 31, low of 25. And on Friday, cold with clouds yielding to sun, chilling down again to 32 as the high and 23 as the low in the overnight. The sun will rise at 7:08 a.m. today. It'll set at 4:19 p.m. We'll have 9 hours and 11 minutes of daylight. The moon will rise at 12:06 p.m. and set at 1:32 a.m. Heading to the front of the paper. And we do this because somebody asked for it. We go to masslottery.com to get the latest lottery results because, again, somebody asked for it. And if you ask for it, we try to give it to you. If there's something you would like read to people who are blind or print disabled, you can email us at info@audiblelocalledger.org or call us at 508-539-2030 and we'll consider reading it. With the numbers game for Sunday, December 28th, in the midday drawing, the numbers were 8859. Again, yesterday's numbers game results for the midday drawing, 8859. In the evening drawing yesterday, for the numbers game, 1722. Again, last night, Sunday, December 28th's numbers game evening drawing results, 1722. Good luck to all who play, and remember us if you win. From the front page of today's Cape Cod Times, the headline reads, Caught Between Stop and Go. The stop work order for Vineyard Wind explained by Heather McCarran. A federal stop work order issued just days before the holidays hit pause on Vineyard Wind 1, but not on the electricity already flowing from it. The order, which the Federal Bureau of Ocean Energy Management issued on December 22nd, freezes further construction on the nearly complete project while allowing already operational turbines to keep producing power, a distinction that's raised questions across the region. 4 other projects along the East Coast are also affected. Vineyard Wind 1, a joint venture of Avangrid Renewables and Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners, has been under construction about 15 miles south of Martha's Vineyard and southwest of Nantucket since late 2022. The 800-megawatt project includes 62 turbines, with transmission cables coming ashore at Covell's Beach in Barnstable. Avangrid has not responded to requests for comment about the stop work order or questions such as how many turbines are installed, how many turbines have blades, and how many are operational. Here's what the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management stop work order says and what it means. Well, what does it actually do, this stop work order? According to the order, signed by BOEM Acting Director Matthew Giacona, Vineyard Wind 1 must suspend all ongoing development activities for at least 90 days because of national security concerns raised in a recent federal assessment. Well, that means no new construction, no expansion of the project, and no increase in generating capacity other than what's already been put into operation, while federal agencies, including the Department of War, review the new classified information. During this time, Giacona wrote, BOEM will coordinate with the company to determine whether the national security threats posed by this project can be adequately mitigated. What specific activities are stopped? The order halts forward-moving work, such as installing additional turbines, expanding the project's footprint, or taking steps to bring new power online. As of December 24th, the Times was unable to determine the exact number of turbines in the water, though according to Avangrid's report in November, more than half have been erected. The Times was also not able to determine how many turbines have blades on them. Why can Vineyard Wind still generate power? The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is suspending on-lease activities, and that phrase matters. According to offshore wind regulations, activities fall into two categories: construction and development, and operations already completed. Construction/development includes installing new turbines, driving piles, laying new cables, expanding the project footprint, and bringing additional turbines online. Operations already completed includes turbines that are installed, commissioned, and already spinning, power already flowing to the grid, and routine actions needed to keep existing turbines safe and functional. The federal government's suspension applies to the first category, not the second. According to Governor Maura Healey's office, Vineyard Wind has been producing power since January of 2025 and has nearly completed construction. It's currently capable of generating 572 megawatts of electricity, though there's no confirmation of how much of that capacity the company has actually produced. Why did BOEM issue that order? According to the document, the Department of War provided the Department of the Interior with new classified information in November about national security risks tied to offshore wind projects on the East Coast, including concerns involving rapidly evolving adversary technologies. These impacts are heightened by the project's sensitive location on the East Coast and the potential to cause serious, immediate, and irreparable harm to our great nation, Jacona wrote. Are these coast projects canceled? No, not at this time. The order states that the suspension does not represent a final decision. Federal agencies will use the 90-day period to determine whether mitigation measures can address the identified risks, or whether Vineyard Wind 1 and the other projects must be canceled. BOEM also reserves the right to extend the suspension if those discussions need to continue. What are projects that are other wind turbine, and how are they affected? In addition to Vineyard Wind 1, affected projects include Revolution Wind, which is about 12 miles southwest of Martha's Vineyard, which benefits Rhode Island and Connecticut, Sunrise Wind, which is about 19 miles south of Martha's Vineyard and 30 miles east of Montauk Point, benefiting New York, Empire Wind, about 15 to 30 miles south of Long Island, benefiting New York, and Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind, commercial, about 23.5 miles east of Virginia Beach, Virginia, benefiting Virginia. Why does Vineyard Wind's order allow continued operation while the other orders don't? Vineyard Wind is the only one of the 5 affected projects that's already begun sending power to the power grid. Therefore, it was granted permission to keep current operations going for the current level of power generation. Revolution Wind, Sunrise Wind, and Coastal Virginia Offshore Commercial are slated to begin sending power to the grid in 2026, while Empire Wind is looking to begin in 2027, according to their respective companies. How are state leaders responding to these orders? Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont, and Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee issued a joint statement on December 23rd, sharply criticizing the pause. They called it an egregious attack on clean energy that defies logic, and that will drive up costs for American ratepayers, eliminating thousands of good-paying jobs and threatening grid reliability that's needed to keep the lights on. The state leaders also asserted the action is baseless, reckless, and erratic, and vowed to again fight back to ensure these projects move forward and provide power, jobs, and grid reliability to our communities. What are the lawmakers saying? Senator Edward Markey, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and Elizabeth Warren have jointly demanded access to the classified Department of Defense reports cited in the stop work orders. In a December 23rd letter to Interior Secretary Doug Burgum and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the senators wrote, Due to the serious implications of this unprecedented and unwarranted action against American workers and our energy grid, we ask that you respond by the end of the week to set up a date and time we can view these documents. What else is happening with U.S. energy policy? While offshore wind projects must pause construction, federal officials this month have moved ahead with offshore oil and gas leasing, underscoring a widening divide in national energy policy. On December 10th, the Department of the Interior announced it had completed a major offshore oil and gas lease sale in the Gulf of America, formerly known as Gulf of Mexico, generating more than $300 million in high bids for 181 blocks across 80 million acres in federal waters. Interior officials framed the sale as part of a broader push to accelerate domestic fossil fuel production. The other headline on the front page of today's Cape Cod Times, dated December 29th, a Monday: low tide may have stranded a torpedo ray. Carcass found off Cape Cod Bay on December 22nd. This is reported by Desiree Nick-Fargem. A large Atlantic torpedo ray was found dead north of Duck Harbor on Cape Cod on December 22nd, according to the New England Coastal Wildlife Alliance. Duck Harbor is in Wellfleet on Cape Cod Bay. Who knows how long she was out, said Carol Krill Carson, founder and president of the Alliance. After the animal was discovered, Alliance volunteers pulled the carcass off the beach to conduct a necropsy and learned it was an adult female ray. The ray was otherwise healthy, weighing 103 pounds. It's 4 feet 5 inches long, one of the largest necropsied this fall, according to a Facebook post. Carson believes the torpedo ray lost its navigation, which led to its washing ashore. The only thing I can think of is they're moving into shallower waters, she said, and when the tide goes out, they're left high and dry. The torpedo ray is part of the Torpedinidae family, according to Carson. Due to a lack in research and funding, there's not enough information about the animals, she said. We know they're here year-round. We don't know much about their biology or their history. The Alliance picks up animals that have been stranded, but by the time we're notified and get to the animal, they're dead, Carson said. Instead, the organization uses the animal carcasses to understand and protect them. Inside the stomach of this torpedo ray, Carson found herring and menhaden. The torpedo ray can produce an electrical charge of 20 to 50 volts, and up to 220 volts in some cases, according to an Alliance Facebook post from December 24th. A nudge back into the water can help. Like many animals, when torpedo rays are stranded, they don't move, Carson said, presumably to save their energy. If anyone stumbles upon a torpedo ray, Carson said it's safe to nudge them at their tail side, which is paddle-shaped, to see if they're still alive. If they are, they might be able to be nudged back into water, but be sure to stay away from their heads. Carson also said to take a photo and figure out the GPS coordinates and then contact the Alliance at 508-566-0009. Keeping it local in our half-hour Cape Cod Times reading, Sandwich woman who's 38 years old charged with trafficking and servitude, by Desiree Nick-Fargem. A Sandwich woman was arraigned on December 23rd in Barnstable Superior Court on a felony charge of trafficking a person for sexual servitude, court records showed. One of 3 Cape Cod residents indicted in December following separate police investigations into human trafficking allegations. Rena Altony Hernandez Alcantara was indicted December 5th. At her arraignment, Alcantara's bail was set at $500 with the condition that she surrender her passport, adhere to a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, and wear a GPS ankle monitor, according to court records. Her next court date is January 29th for a pretrial conference, according to the Superior Court Clerk's Office. Alcantara, 38, of Sandwich, was investigated by Yarmouth Police Department in September, according to a press release. Our Yarmouth officer observed what was expected and suspected to be sexual activity in a parked car in a local business parking lot. One of the individuals involved was Alcantara, according to police. The officer conducted a traffic stop on Alcantara's vehicle later that night, and she was arrested based on information gained at the traffic stop and a subsequent investigation. Cape and Islands District Attorney Robert Gallibois established a human trafficking division in his office in 2023 to combat commercial sex and labor trafficking on the Cape and the islands. Alcantara's bail was set at $500. From the Cape and Islands section, keeping it local, state unemployment claims increased in the past week. Initial filings for unemployment benefits in Massachusetts rose in recent data compared with a week prior, the U.S. Department of Labor said Thursday. New jobless claims, a proxy for layoffs, increased to 9,301 in the week ending December 19th. That's up from 7,892 the week before, the Labor Department said. U.S. unemployment claims dropped to 214,000 for the week ending December 19th. It's down 10,000 claims from 224,000 the week prior on a seasonally adjusted basis. Nebraska saw the largest percentage increase in weekly claims, with claims jumping by 63.3%. West Virginia, meanwhile, saw the largest percentage drop in new claims, with claims dropping by 39.7%. The other story in the Cape and Islands section: melting snowman captured in time. Lapse video photo shoot. And this is Steve Heslip, the staff photographer for the Cape Cod Times, who writes about much more than just the taking technical aspect of a photo. He writes about what it means to him. A report by researchers at Salem State University issued on December 4th put forth new data for New England about decreasing snow cover and rising temperatures. It states Northeast's coastal region is one of the fastest warming regions of the world. It continued snow cover is decreasing throughout New England and rapidly in southern New England, which has lost over 30 to 40% of snow cover days between 2000 and 2025. Sobering information as winter of 2025 really gets underway. Mother Nature's always in charge, though, and sure enough, 5 inches of snow coated most of Cape Cod December 14th. One day's weather certainly doesn't represent changing long-term climate trends, and there are definitely fewer snow days than there used to be. Looking for a way to photograph this is a challenge. A brown lawn photo in the heart of February literally says, "No snow." But even a well-written caption can't make that image exciting. After the recent storm, a dapper snowman graced our backyard. He lived in the shade of our house, and his life expectancy was much higher than it would have been in the south-facing front yard. My biggest fear for his safety, the neighborhood grazing deer knocking him over to eat his carrot nose. I decided to have a bit of photography playtime, setting up a camera trained on our 3-tiered snow gentleman wearing a ball cap. What would be his lifespan? The camera was set to take a photo every minute. I manually started the camera at sunrise each day, and then I shut it down after dark. Cool temps the first day did little to his complexion, then the next day either. His stone eyes and his oak leaf mouth, though, were the first to drop. He kept his physique mostly intact throughout day 2, but despite an overcast day 3, by day's end, only his foundation support remained. The camera ran for a 4th day, but nothing much changed, and at sunset I dismantled the setup ahead of heavy rain coming in overnight. This photo experiment was not the least bit scientific. It just produced a fun 15-second video. My worries about marauding herds of deer never occurred. The carrot fell from his face, and it remained untouched after the rain stopped. Time will tell what winter 2025 doles out to Cape Cod. Rain, sleet, or snow. It's always safe to bet on a few nor'easters crossing our path. And there's one more local story. It's in the sports page. We read all of the local news. That's what we're trying to fill in here for people who may be blind or print disabled. Stuff that they can't get in other commercial media. Unselfish attitudes. Team goals are the key to St. John Paul II girls basketball by Adam Kirkjian in Harwich. Given the circumstances, her teammates would have understood. St. John Paul II girls basketball player Devin Crawford came into Saturday's game with 974 career points. In a Cape Cod Tech Holiday Tournament showdown with Upper Cape, Crawford could have been aggressive with her shot, looking to make it to the 1,000-point plateau. Maybe some of her teammates even wanted that approach, but that would have been out of character. Instead, Crawford passed up open shots for even better ones for her Lions teammates. She finished with 10 points, as her team earned a 51-18 win. She never even considered putting the individual accolade ahead of the team goals. That's part of this whole senior group for the Lions, who are 3-1. Crawford, Marlo Jumper, Reagan Dillon, and Michaela Enright are all captains, starters, and leaders for a team that has designs on making another deep tournament stay after reaching the Elite Eight the previous 2 seasons. We're trying to build the program for next year, too, Crawford said. It's about being as unselfish as we can be to help the other girls get a hand on the ball. I think it's really important. Now they're doing it for a new coach as Caitlin McPherson takes over this season. She loves the attitude of her seniors and how they're passing it on. It's a dream scenario to walk into, McPherson said. I have 4 girls who are not only strong athletes, but they're intelligent human beings. I'm the assistant soccer coach for them, so I've had the opportunity to coach them there too. Having the opportunity to teach them as well, they're 4 girls who are focused. They want to be here. They make the team better. They're leaders, and they make everyone around them better. That was clearly on display Saturday. Jumper was the hot hand as she made a few early 3-pointers and finished with 19 points. Crawford made 2 threes, but was more content to act as distributor. Jumper said she's looking forward to her teammate hitting the milestone. Crawford only needs 16 points to do it. I'm so excited, Jumper said. I hope they let me give a speech. That seems like it could be arranged. Don't expect Crawford to alter her game, though, to get there. She's been playing the same style regardless of the circumstances. If the Lions successfully develop some of the younger players, they can maybe take their tournament stay a step or 2 further. Those seniors know it, and they're capable of anything they set their mind to. And with that nucleus leading the way, the Lions are ready to reach their goals. By then, Crawford should have the 1,000-point mark well in hand. For Upper Cape, 1-3, the Rams were short-handed in their loss to St. John Paul II. There were several players missing, including leading scorer Jalen Rue Santos. The result was a scoring void the Rams did not necessarily fill. Upper Cape coach Andre Smith wants to see someone step up in future situations. One player who stuck out was junior Meadow Didi. She scored 4 points, had a nice floor game, and worked hard on defense. The St. John Paul II game did not go how they wanted, but the Rams know they're capable of more. When they're at full strength, they're a tough out. Alex Powell Gomes pairs nicely with Rue Santos as a sharpshooter from the outside, and Powell Gomes led Upper Cape with 7 points against the Lions. Until then, Didi and company are looking to develop their skills and have some better results the rest of the way. There is one international obituary in today's Cape Cod Times. French cinema icon Bardot dies at 91. And for those of a certain age, we certainly remember Brigitte Bardot. Star left movies behind to advocate for animals by Ingrid Melander of Reuters in Paris. Actress Brigitte Bardot shot to international fame dancing the mambo barefoot in And God Created Woman. Her tousled hair and fierce energy radiating a sexual magnetism rarely before seen in mainstream cinema. And a global icon was born. At just 21, she scandalized censors and captivated audiences. Her free-spirited performance in the 1956 film, shot by her husband Roger Vadim, marked a decisive break from the demure heroines of the previous era. Bardot, often referred to in France simply as Bibi, and whose later years were marked by animal rights campaigns and far-right political sympathies, has died at the age of 91, her foundation said on December 28th. The cause was not immediately known. On the health front, bad flu season getting worse in the United States. Health officials say cases are on the rise in 47 states. By Mike Snyder of USA Today. Flu is surging across the U.S. amid a busy holiday travel time. The state of New York is among those most heavily hit. For the week that ended December 20th, the state of New York reported its highest number of positive flu cases, 71,123 ever recorded in a single week, according to the New York State Department of Health. That represented an increase of 38% over the previous week, the department said. New York's one of 14 states that have reported high or very high activity of outpatient visits to healthcare providers for flu-like symptoms for the week ending December 13th, according to the CDC. The District of Columbia, New York City, and Puerto Rico have also registered high or very high flu-like cases, the agency says. And as of December 16th, flu infections were on the rise or likely growing in 47 states, with cases declining only in Hawaii, the CDC projected. The increase in seasonal flu activity across the U.S. is similar to several past seasons, the CDC says, but it comes along with a new flu strain, subclade K, a variation of the influenza H3N2 virus, responsible for flu outbreaks in Japan, the UK, and Canada. Health officials have been concerned the current flu vaccine may be a mismatch for the new variant, but have expressed confidence it has protection against serious illness. Health officials aren't yet sure if the new flu strain is leading to more infections or more severe cases, but what is clear is that cases are increasing. And we're seeing a lot of influenza cases increasing across the country, and that's a trend that we're sure will continue into the new year. Andrew Pekoch, co-director of the Johns Hopkins Center of Excellence in Influenza Research and Response, said in a December 16th video health briefing. Fewer Americans are getting flu shots. Also, potentially contributing to an increase is a decline in Americans getting flu shots. While more than 47.6 million flu vax have been given at retail pharmacies and physicians' offices so far this year, that's down about 3 million from last year, according to the CDC. The flu has led to 1,900 deaths, 49,000 hospitalizations, and 4.6 million illnesses so far this season. And more for weather updates. Blast of Arctic air on the way for New Year by Doyle Rice of USA Today. An Arctic blast is forecast to usher in multiple waves of dangerous cold to the Midwest and Northeast in the week stretching into the new year, forecasters warned. That would be this week, folks. A pair of potent cold fronts will plunge into the northern tier of the United States as 2025 ends and 2026 begins, Renee Duff, an AccuWeather senior meteorologist, said in an online forecast. Behind each front, temperatures will drop, and the lake effect snow machine will be flipped on. How cold? Sub-freezing temperatures were predicted as far south as the Gulf Coast by December 30th, according to a forecast map from the Weather Prediction Center. Temperatures will fall off a cliff to start the new year 2026 across the Great Lakes, Northeast, and into the Southeast, weather trader meteorologist Ryan Mao said on X. The drop in temperatures from the recent mild spell will be shocking in some areas. High temps were expected to possibly drop more than 30 degrees over the 24-hour period from December 28th into December 29th, with the greatest plunge in temperatures expected over the Ohio Valley, Duff said. In Indianapolis, for example, our forecast projected near-record warmth for December 28th in the low 60s, but then December 29th's high was expected to be in the mid-20s. Daytime temperatures in the 20s and 30s will be common throughout the Northeast by December 30th, with teens in single digits expected across the upper Midwest, AccuWeather said. A reinforcing burst of Arctic air was expected to plunge southeast from Canada and into the Northeast right around the flip of the calendar to 2026. January is likely to be a continuation of the end of December pattern, which featured above-average warmth across much of the southern two-thirds of the country, according to Weather.com. He added, Jonathan Bells from Weather.com, that February could feature the nation's warmest, relative to average, weather along the East Coast, so there might be some relief coming. And with that, we've come to the end of our reading of the Cape Cod Times. We've read all the local news and a little bit of the international. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other. Let's remember our veterans, especially those we've lost recently. Bye for now.